going to that from my phone as well.
And where are you now? There you are. Okay, got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if anyone's joining us, let us know if you can see us live. And we are just going to get things set up to stream to other groups and pages.
You betcha. I'm just gonna look here on my phone.
Sometimes it takes just a little. Oh, yeah, we are live. Yeah.
Very good. Awesome.
And where am I going to share this to?
Yeah. I'm gonna share it to my group and my page once I can find it. It is taking just a little bit of a moment here on my end.
Yeah, and that's okay. Take your
Okay.
time. That's the beautiful part about just everything is just a nice, relaxed kind of go with the flow type of atmosphere these days. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to doing this. And we will start the recording if you are ready, Amber.
I should be. Oh, there we go. Here it is. Okay, we're gonna share this. And I'm almost ready. Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah, not a problem. I think I don't need my glasses anymore either, so that's cool.
Aha. Perfect. Okay, I've got it shared to the group. Hopefully. And things are just a little glitchy. I find that is a common occurrence these days.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'll share with you after a very interesting occurrence when I first started trying to do this. When we talk about spiritual warfare. It's like, wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Electronic
Totally.
lets us know when things are glitchy for sure.
Right? I know. Yeah. Okay. I think I've almost got it here.
Okay. So yeah, get ready for a great interview, everyone. We have Amber Courtney in the house, and we're just going to start the recording and do the official welcoming. So, okay, ready to go, girl?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Okay, so record. I'll do that. Okay, everyone. So welcome to a beautiful sunshiny day here in central Canada, Alberta, Canada, in fact, in the Edmonton area. My name is Carol Roberts. Connect with Showcasing You, which is one of my passions. And here in the house, I have Amber Courtney, who also is a resident in this area, and also the sole proprietor, founder, CEO, all of those wonderful titles of Soul Tribe, Tarot Tribe, and Tarot Healing.
Tarot and healing, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's of course it's one of those things that it's a mouthful, but that's why I'm going to be turning a lot of the conversation over to Amber, because her and I met, and just what a great connection.
Mhm.
When we have those people that I just kind of was going through my news feed and seen a live pop up, and then almost instantly there was another live. But I do want to give a shout out to Connor, because when I interviewed him, he actually mentioned your name, but I did not really know you then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting how things come together as they are meant to be? So Amber, I really am excited about this time, and I want you to share first and foremost something that you and I talked about right away is what your platform really, your mission or your passion and what you do, kind of in a general sense of the word, a description of what you do. And then we're going to kind of get into some other really great subjects, because so many people these days have been asking me from a spiritual standpoint, where do you get started? So take that away.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, so Soul Tribe Tarot and Healing, it definitely is a mouthful. It's one of those names that I have debated on changing quite a few times, and every time I want to change that business name, I feel this intense like, no, this is my brand, this is who I am, this is how I started. So I really did start with just reading tarot. I really didn't know I was even a healer or meant to be working with Ascension, anything like that. And the tarot really was that catalyst for me. And so once I got into that and I found my way into the healing, it only made sense that it was like, I at this time and pretty much my whole existence on this earth up until, 2 years ago, I was really trying to search for people that I could relate with, that were my soul tribe. I've always had friends, but they never, there was always something missing. Nobody really understood me. I could never talk about spirituality. I couldn't really be who I wanted to be. So that's how that name came about. It was me trying to find others who were in the same boat, soul tribe, that want to find their soul tribe, that like tarot and also are working through their healing. So it has really evolved, of course, quite fast since I started in 2019. That is because of the ascension that we're going through. Like we were speaking about earlier, it's like some people are going through a slower process of ascension, some people are going through it faster, just depending on what your soul's mission is. And so for me, it was really about awakening fast and getting to work really fast. And so I am super passionate about helping others through their healing journey, through their awakening journey, their spiritual development, and really understanding what it means to be alive on this planet at this time. We are here for a once in a lifetime opportunity through this ascension. An ascension is a wave of energy that comes through different parts of the universe at different times. And it's not very often. It's like thousands and millions of years that it comes around, just depending on where in the universe it's landing. So that ascension wave is coming through right now. And what I'm really feeling that call to do is to help people through that ascension process, through all the different products that I'm offering.
And I'm so glad that you gave such a, like, again, this is something I love about you. You're so well spoken, and just everything you say actually really kind of allows a person to kind of go, wow, okay, this is making sense. And I think that's really, really important in this time that we're here on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, maybe in different age groups, we hear a lot of people say, like, what is my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
I love that you say your soul mission. And when we think of, body, mind, and spirit, or body, mind, and soul, that connection, I call it three power. That's my three power.
Yeah.
And so many people, the Om, right? The power of three. It is so important that we make people aware that it's okay, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of that yearning. Like people in my age group, they're leaving corporate jobs that they've had for many, many moons and going into healing modalities, looking for their soul tribe, people that they actually resonate with and really truly can feel more at home.
Yeah.
So home here. And that's so important,
I
right?
feel that.
Yeah. So that's something that when you get the goosies where it's like wow, okay,
That's what I'm feeling.
kind of like our spirit teams in collaboration. I call it like the cheerleaders of, just like going to a big game as, I guess you can't see, but there's a great collection of Edmonton stuff, Oilers, and of course the hockey team, the football team, but you can hear that kind of the crowd, right?
Yes.
That's our spirit teams when we're in alignment. And I think really resonating with truth. I think that's really something that was important for me. And I was drawn to you because you speak truth.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I know that Ascension, we were kind of joking earlier with what some of us maybe feel like it is, or, what it's, can you give like maybe, say 3 to 5 different, I guess, what we call the symptoms of Ascension? Because some of them are pretty profound, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And it really does vary between each individual, as each and every one of us have incarnated here with a specific soul contract. That soul contract was created depending on where your soul's at in its evolutional journey through experience of different times, realities, dimensions, where your soul wants to go. So
Yes.
the ascension symptoms, they can vary dramatically. A lot of it that people are noticing is that physical exhaustion. It's coming on very strong. We're feeling very cloudy. A lot of us are actually losing a lot of our memory. That memory loss is actually because we are becoming more attuned to our intuition and being in real time. And so we don't need to remember anything. We realize that we have the ability to access information at any moment in time, like a data bank. It's always there, all around us. And what that does is it allows the brain to create more space. So that way it's not bombarded with all this information. There's other areas that we can access it and pull it down. So that's a part of what's happening. If anybody is experiencing like that memory loss, you're having a hard time remembering, you're feeling exhaustion, that exhaustion is coming about because the really carbon-based structure of our DNA and our body is becoming lighter. And
Yeah.
it's purging lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma and pain and heartbreak and emotions. It's not just from this lifetime that's being stored in the body. So it's like we're naturally being healed without even having to do anything, right? We just need to rest. We need to take care of our bodies and drink lots of high vibrational clean water that's alive, because the water we drink is not alive out of taps. We need to eat lots of high vibrational clean foods, lots of supplements, releasing heavy metals from our body. All of these things are really helping the process become less, say, painful or less hard, because it can at times feel really hard. So if it is feeling like that for anybody that may be watching, it's an invitation that the universe is trying to ask you is to take it a little bit more into your own hands, because the energies can only do so much until we really have to start helping with that. So those are two things, exhaustion, memory loss. But another part of it is more of that spiritual awakening that's
Yeah.
happening. So that spiritual awakening is happening just like that for people. One day they just wake up and they're like, what's the meaning of life? What am I doing here? Why am I working this 9 to 5 job?
Yes.
Like, what is going on? What is this reality? I'm a slave to this reality. And again, for some, it's coming on very gradual. They're gathering information. They're, finding their way through it. For others, it's like a bus comes in and just like shakes your whole world up and is
Mm.
like, listen, you can't live like this anymore. We're going into this new earth, right? That awakening process is a huge part of the ascension. And really just also what we're seeing around us, another part of all this ascension is the crumbling of the world around us. So I
Yeah.
always try to invite people not to look at it as like a destruction, as like a negative of
Mm.
all the crazy things that we are seeing, whether it's death or natural disasters or things within the government trying to push things on us. They're trying to hold us in lower timelines. Those lower timelines are what keeps us stuck from that ascension. So the more we just disconnect from that and decide that doesn't have to be a part of my reality, we can rise above that and we can begin to move up and out of that reality. So that destruction and everything we see, that is a huge part of what was naturally supposed to happen. It's like, it's no different than our body, right? We can't have new things come into our reality if we don't make space for it and let something go.
Yes.
So we
Absolutely.
have to let so many things go on this planet. The structures, the education system, the governments, the money, all of it's got to go. But it looks messy and scary in the meantime until we rise above it into a different frequency.
Yeah, and you've done such a great job just explaining that in itself. But I love to kind of find different ways of expressing it. So of course, I'm from a computer background, and when I think of, computer has memory, right?
Yeah.
And so our soul also has that imprinted memory or our
Yeah.
cached memory.
Yeah.
And that's where people like might forget certain things. I know I was definitely like, wow, what the heck is going on? Like I couldn't even remember some things that were like, so, I knew for years,
Yeah.
and then replaced with something else, or then maybe all of a sudden that memory came back.
Mm.
So it's basically, I love how you say it's about making room for new. And yes, good nutrition in, good water, all of those things, and then getting, the detox out, making room for, just the ability to do as we were designed by our creator, just like our earth you talk about destruction. But
Yeah.
you know what? The seasons, look at the season we're in. Oh, I get goosies.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's all about renewing and refreshing and repairing.
Yeah.
Earth always has shown us how she takes care of herself. And
Mhm.
of course, creator, of course, has made us the same. We have all the access to everything that we need to heal thyself, but we do have to be due diligent in, like you say, being aware of maybe our surroundings, maybe what we're putting ourselves into, maybe who we're inviting to our table.
Yeah.
All of those types of items, that's where people are talking about it, is they just don't feel connected to the same people anymore. And they're searching, just like you were, for
Yeah.
a new group of people, a new tribe, a new family, or a sense of belonging. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yes, it's that oneness, coming back to oneness, no more separation through race and how much money you
Oh,
have and all these different things. It's the fact that we have soul family, soul tribes all over the family and or all over the world. And we want to find those people again because there are many people, including myself, who have been incarnated and born into family lines where they don't feel like your family and you
yeah.
feel like the outcast, you feel like the black sheep, you feel like you don't fit in. And and you're like, well, why is this happening? Why am I so alone in the world? And it's like sometimes it's it just happened in order for us to either help this family line or to bring us closer to finding those other people that we incarnated with that are our soul family around the world.
No, and it isn't true. I love when you say the black sheep. It's like, I always say like, but wait a minute, what if we're the white sheep?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or of course, I found a really great meme that I like just being the psychedelic sheep.
Yeah.
Because of course,
Yeah.
add some color to the black and white because, you know, I call it the society rule book, right?
Yeah.
Those of us, again, when we go right back to the generations of lineage of, go to school, you get a good job, you get married, you have a handful of kids, wives back in the day, they stayed home and took care of the home and you know I love this part of it. And that's why I love what I do so much is this is about us being absolutely true to who we are. And I love how you stated very effectively that we can only authentically teach what we've lived.
Mhm.
And even sometimes the memory of like, how do we know this? How did we end up doing this? Like for me being in the computer business, I would have never, ever in a million years thought I would be in that industry. So,
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit more about your background then. When this started
Mm.
happening, what were you always in this area? Was there a sense of being drawn to a certain area? Because I hear that a lot from people too.
Yeah, it's actually quite wild because I was not anywhere close to working in this area before. But I was always drawn to it. I always knew that I was gifted and I wanted to do these things, but I thought I was almost told that I was crazy, that I could be a medium. So I didn't believe it. But so when I dropped out of school really early. I was like 15 or 16. Wasn't for me. Wanted nothing to do with the school systems. I ended up becoming a cleaner for a little while until I moved out here to Alberta because I'm from Vancouver Island. And I found my way into the oil field. And I was there for almost 10 years as a heavy equipment operator, a dozer operator. I loved my job. I was so good at it. I loved the lifestyle, loved the freedom, the money, all the things. But eventually it did play its role for me and it took a toll on my mental health, my physical health, everything. And that's around the time right when it was about to like fizzle out is when I got pregnant, and that's when my spiritual awakening really kicked in. And I went through my pregnancy, and then right after my daughter was born, like a month later, I went and seen this psychic, and she just changed my whole entire life. She confirmed everything that I always knew about myself, but people told me wasn't true, that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life and I need to just start going for it. And from there, just because I really at that point felt like I had nothing to lose, like I knew that I couldn't go back to my career having a newborn child. I had no other education. There was no other avenue for me, right? So I was like, what do I have to lose but to just go for this? And
Yeah.
that's what I did. And honestly, people did not take me seriously for a while.
No, it's been, again, been that generational thing. I know when you say, knew you were always gifted, I had the same experience. And again, that comes, ancestral, we'll call it. And I remember my grandma saying, we don't talk about that because people will think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And so, there's, so many spiritual gifts, but I know I always kind of emphasize and help people with, expressing the nine. And whether it's that all of us have intuition, every single person, and some have a higher level of discernment, which is, I call it knowing, just knowing and seeing. And this is the cool part, is a lot of people are now feeling comfortable enough to say, hey, this is something I've always done. Now I want to actually be not only seen, heard, but felt. Because when we feel those goosies, when we feel that it's authentic, that really makes a big difference, especially when we're trying to live in this world, which is full of division.
Yeah.
even in places we think shouldn't happen, there should be no lines of division, when we think of the last 3.5 years, etc.
Mhm.
And yet it's still happening. So what are some of the tips that you could give the listening audience to, just kind of be okay with exactly who you are, be true to who you are, and step out, step up, reach out, reach out to Amber if you're listening, because she has absolutely got some great things always on the go, to get started, because that's some of the things that I get asked all the time. And that was one of my main reasons for saying, girl, I want to know more about what you do, because I want to have that go-to person that really is kind of offering what I call a smorgasbord.
Mhm.
Take what you like, what's resonating with you. Maybe you're not ready for the whole sampling,
Yeah.
but take what appeals to you, what sits well with you, and start the amazing journey. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe share that.
Yeah. So, like you said, it is one of those things where we are implementing these new techniques, these new ways of living, these new habits. It is a practice.
Ah,
And it's one of those things that we have to give time and patience and practice into. However, when we're looking to begin, that is definitely one of the hardest parts because we are challenging all of the things and the ways that we have been up until this point. Because to really connect with that spiritual side of yourself, the spiritual world, you are having to face a lot of the habits, emotions, the pains, all the things that haven't been working for you. So you
yeah.
can illuminate that and begin to work through your journey. And so I found in my beginning, journaling was such a beautiful way as almost like free therapy to get what's circulating in your mind and start getting it out of you. Get it somewhere, put it on a piece of paper, talk into a voice recorder, get it out of you and start to make sense of what is actually going on inside of you right now that needs to be looked at so you can get going on this journey, because there's a lot of blocks that are going to want to come up and there's all the excuses in the world that are going to want to come up, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And those are coming from a place of fear, fear of
Yeah.
change, fear of having to do the work, because it is work, right? You're having to completely change a lot of things that you've done up until recently. So just starting with something as simple as just journaling daily to be able to just start getting onto paper or somewhere to make sense of it. And then you really want to start and implement some sort of practice of sitting in silence. Now, I will
Mm,
never push traditional meditation where you have to sit here and and meditate like that, because the truth is there are tons of different ways to meditate. You're
yes.
not you don't have to do just one way. And when we're beginning, it's actually a lot more stressful to force yourself into sit in silence than to work your way into that. So we
Mm,
are living in a society where we all have monkey brains, okay? We have very short attention spans because everything is do, pulling us in, distraction, right?
yeah.
We are programmed like that. So I really love to suggest to people to go into the shower, put on some meditation music while you're showering, let your mind go clear. It's also helpful too because your hands are busy, so it's keeping your brain busy with something other than
Yeah.
your thoughts. So focus on the hands, focus on your breath, listen to the music.
Mhm.
Have something with maybe some positive affirmations. So you're focusing on something other than how you're feeling or whatever right now. We're going to reprogram that mind through positive affirmations, through focusing on the breath and some sort of gratitude. Those are really high vibrational ways to just like raise your frequency up. So those are really two really powerful practices that you can do to begin on this spiritual journey that are like of the utmost, like beginner, but it's super helpful. I find at least.
And I find too, a lot of us, I remember saying, all my friends, oh, you need to meditate. You need to, and I'm like, what does that mean? You
Mm,
know, and then afterwards, when I started getting different definitions, just like you've expressed, I'm like, I've always done that.
right.
So, some people, and of course, just learning how to be and not have to be busy, because there's a
Yes.
difference between busy and productive.
So true.
That's But what I found is I'm getting goosies again. When I drove, when I was actually on the road, and sometimes like, oh yeah, listen to music and just like belting out all the 80s.
Yes.
All our favorite classics, and then sometimes just turning that music right off and just really taking in the surroundings and
Hmm.
just allowing the flow of thoughts.
Yes.
The difference between, okay, what do I got to do tomorrow? What do I got to do next day? Okay, oh yeah, right, I
Yeah.
got that appointment. Oh, little Johnny's got to go to baseball. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Just like you said, being pulled all
Yeah.
different directions. I have a friend that said, have a love affair with yourself.
Mm.
Self-love is not selfish. So I love the shower, taking a nice bath and just taking that time, even if it has to be at midnight after the kids are tucked away, just taking some time to journal, fire release. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Journal and rip that paper out and let it go back up to the ether. Like all of those practices, like you said, um, and maybe if the listening audience, if you're, make sure you do a hashtag live in the comments, but maybe share something that you have done just to allow what some of us call downloads or the flow of thoughts. And then you go like, wow, what a great idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you as well?
Oh gosh, yes, all the time. And
If
especially
no,
like you said, when I'm driving, when I'm walking, when I'm doing
yes.
those are, movement meditation such a big thing.
Ah, love it.
Yeah, and that's where I get a lot of my insights. I'll be cleaning the house, right? I'll be cleaning and I'll just be clearing my mind. I'll do it in silence. People are like, "You don't listen to music?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm meditating."
Yeah, exactly. And that's where there's a time for everything. And that's where being okay and allowing, the art of allowing yourself to clean without music or just to go for a drive with really no destination.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, this is a thing. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't even have to be costly. When we think of all the things we can do right at home, especially with, people like yourself, you have lives all the time, which is what I got to tune into, not one, but two back to back. And
Yeah.
that's what I got to hear a little bit about what you have coming up. So why don't you share? Because I'm just thrilled. Number one, you got a trip on the horizon and you got this amazing, again, I'm going to call it just like a selection that our souls can actually really kind of take in what we feel is needed for that particular time. So yeah, just tell us about all that.
Oh, yeah, big year for me. It was kind of like it just came in like a freight train and just like whew, it was like all the things this year. So yeah, I'm going on this trip. And then I have this program coming out. So I'll touch base on the program first, and then I'll talk more about that
Okay.
trip because it is super spiritual, magical, all the things. But so is the program. And it really is, it's not so much as a program, but it's an academy. So it
Yeah.
started out as a part of a paid group that I had. In the paid group, individuals had access to this academy to help them with whatever that they needed help with. Maybe they wanted to know how to create a grounding practice. Grounding every day is so important. We are here in this reality, and with all these massive light codes coming through every day, it is making us feel out of our body. So we feel spacey, we feel anxiety, we don't feel good. We're having gestational, problems in our stomachs. We need to pull it back down and come back into the body and remind us that we are still in this plane of existence. This is where we're at. So I created this because I wanted to have everything, like you said, from A to Z of how
Yeah.
to get started and how to advance and get further into your practice. Because when I was trying to figure all this out, there were a lot of beautiful, explanations and amazing people out there giving lots of different ways of doing things. So I went through a lot of that to find what really worked for me. And so this academy, I will say there's no right or wrong way to do anything. This academy really just holds the information, the techniques that have worked specifically for me. And any client that I have worked with and shared it with is also working for them. So
Yeah.
again, it's everything from the basics to not super advanced. I'm not going super advanced with this part of the academy as it could just be too much information. But everything from understanding how to ground, protect your energy, cleanse your energy, to understanding more energy healing tools to use for yourself, how to understand more of that, divine masculine, divine feminine, healing that, the inner child, self
Yeah.
love, Akashic records. I'm going to add that in there today with an activation to really activate that in your DNA. So everybody should have access to their own Akashic records. Everybody. You don't have to be special. You don't have to have some fancy prayer. You just need to start doing it and have that activation come in. So I'm going to add that in there as well. Understanding things from past lives,
Mm.
because, time and past lives, there's a whole explanation in that. And everything that I include in this program, I really try to ground it with some sort of explanation with quantum physics and scientific kind of explanations. So that way it doesn't seem so woo woo and like you can't quite wrap your head around it yet. It helps ground it more into your human body to be able to expand your consciousness a lot faster than if you were just to absorb information that really didn't make sense. It would take time to go through the processing of your aura and all the things to really kind of make sense in your reality. So I'm really excited about that one. You're getting as well one-to-one sessions at the end of each module,
Mm.
anywhere from 30 minutes to 60 minutes, depending on what's included in that chapter. I've tried to,
Beautiful.
be curious, or I tried to be mindful about each chapter of what's being included and how much time a person might need for an individual one-to-one session after each module. But again, there's lots of stuff from, manifestations, how to really actually manifest
Ah,
the life that you want, because it does have a lot to do with the quantum physics, and there's a little bit more to it than maybe we've seen out in the metaphysics community. And yeah, like you said, it's a smorgasbord of everything in there. So I'm really excited about that. I'm launching my beta today
ooh,
at a lower price than I will be for, when it's not in beta. So I am looking for, yeah, a very few amount of people, maybe one to two, three people to get started with this with me. As there's obviously going to be little things that I'm going to need to tweak and do better, or maybe I'll need to add. And those people that are joining now are going to be kind of like my little bit of a guinea pig.
actually, I'm going to interject for a second because I love how you said there is no right or wrong. I know when I was, very blessed to have an energy medicine teacher at one point of my journey, she said there is no good, bad, right or wrong. It's all about learning and teaching. So if you are interested, make sure you reach out to Amber because that beta, just with a small handful of people, that is really what that flow back and forth, the sharing of experience and
Mm.
of the feedback that it just basically gives us more substance to be able to offer something even greater options down the road. So
Yeah.
if that resonates with you, I know it certainly did for me. That's the one live that I seen you doing. I was like, I want to know everything because again, I have so many people say, where do I get started? So how does that tie in? Because I know that when we talked once before, you have this adventure, this trip that you're going on, and it's really a part of, it's almost sometimes, I remember at a point in my life, like going, can you just send me a letter? Can you just, give me a letter with exactly what you want, like detailed, and I will follow it to the letter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So it's interesting when we have that feeling or a pull drawn to a certain area. That happened for me too, which was just, again, mind blowing what happened afterwards. But this is something that you just, again, maybe a soul memory or. So explain that and how that resonates with tying it all together with what you're doing right now.
Yes. So this trip has been a long time in the making and I didn't even realize it. It's really interesting because most of my life I was like, I don't ever want to go to Europe or the UK. I had zero desire to go to those parts of the world. So where I'm going is I'm flying into England and then I'm jumping over to Ireland and then I'm ending in Scotland. And the beginning of my awakening, I started to learn that predominantly most of my past lives are in the Celtic regions, the Celtic Druidism, Avalon, very ancient Avalon, the fairies, all those sort of beings and time frames, which honestly blew my mind because my whole life I have been drawn to fairies. I have played video games that bring me into these mystical Avalonian realms. And I would get lost in it sometimes for days because I felt at home. And I didn't know why I would play these video games, but people are like, you don't look like the type of girl that plays video games. And I'm like, listen, it does something to my soul. It makes me feel at home. I get to escape this reality that I don't really want to be a part of, right? Like I'm missing something. So yes, so this trip, I found out a couple years ago that I was going to need to go to these areas, and I would know when it was time, is how I was told. I would know when it was time. And I knew that personally I'd have to be at a certain point in my psychic development to be able to communicate with some of these different beings that are drawing me to these areas. And it just so happened that that just all of a sudden just happened January. I just decided I'm going on a trip. I don't know how I'm going to get the money for this, but I'm just going to book it. I'm just going to go and I'm going to do it. So because I trusted and I put my faith in what was I was being led to, the money came. I have the money for the trip. Everything's aligning perfectly where my daughter gets to be with her father for the whole time that I'm gone. So she's safe. She's with somebody I trust. She's going to be with family.
Mm.
And while I'm gone, yeah, from what I've gathered with working with the Fae, the fairies, is it is really a pilgrimage of remembering. And it has a lot to do with grid work as well. So I have two missions
Wow.
to this trip. Number one, because my soul has spent so much time in those geographical areas, I have energetically left something part of my like a morphogenetic field. We have this like field, a morphogenetic field of information that at any timeline, era, or any, any planet, anywhere you've been, you've picked up pieces of that information. You've also left it in certain parts of the world. So I
Mm.
have pieces of me in these parts of the world that I need to go reclaim so I can step up into my next stage of why I came here on this planet at this time. So it's going to be activating me when I go to all these different areas. I'm going to be picking up codes, and these codes are just, again, just pieces of me that I've left. On top of that, I work as a grid worker. So part of my light worker mission has been to obviously help individuals through their own healing and ascension journey. But I'm feeling that shift now to take all the knowledge I have, put it into courses. So I don't
Yes.
have to do as many one-to-one sessions and things like that. It's just there. It's out in the world for people to access because I've learned it. I've mastered it my own way, and I'm ready to share it. And I need to switch roles into becoming a planetary grid worker. So what that means is there's different ley lines on the planet, and these ley
Mm.
lines are energetic. It's no different than the veins in our body, right? We have meridians. Those meridians are like the ley lines in our body that meet at power centers. We have those ley lines on the planet as well. They meet at different power centers, Stonehenge, the pyramids of Giza, the Mayan Chichen Itza, right? Peru. There's tons of them that meet up, and those are like the different chakra centers of our earth. So I'm being called to the heart chakra, which is Glastonbury Tor in England, and there I'm being asked to not only allow it to activate my own heart, but to clear out the trauma that might still be in the land in those
Mm.
ley lines. So clearing up the trauma, talking to the spirits, crossing spirits over if they need it. There are lots of reversal technologies, and those are a little bit harder to explain, but it has to do with some of the darker entities on this planet. They
Mm.
have come in and they've placed reversal technologies, and it looks almost like black cubes in different ley lines throughout the planet. I'm being called to help dismantle some of those to allow the people around to wake up. Because the people can't wake up, not only because their body's being hijacked through food and programming and all the things,
Yeah.
it's also being hijacked through the energetic grids underneath them. So if that hijacking's happening underneath the ground, they can do all the work and they want, and they just keep getting pulled back, keep getting
Yeah.
pulled back. And they're like, why can't I thought I was getting somewhere? Why am I coming back to this? And I always say, get somebody to check underneath your home, get somebody to check your neighborhood. What do those ley lines look like? Do you have a hijacking going on in there? So I want to go there to be able to release as much as I can for that area, for the planet, because Stonehenge is such a powerful stargate. And that stargate, we need our stargates back open so souls can cross over and all these different things. There's a lot more that goes into that. However, that's part of why I'm going there and why I'm shifting into that role and taking all the knowledge I have and putting it into this academy that will be ever expanding. Because I also do have other products I've created as well, another chakra upgrade series program, a 7-day subconscious cleanse with the Arcturians that I created, which is super powerful. I have other things, and it'll all be a part of that eventually, but just keeping it simple for now.
And again, when we talk about the word academy, like it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Amber's Ascension Academy, literally from A to Z. And I see these books, like I was sharing with you, just before we got started, like, again, that visual, that intuitive download of a vision of just, whatever, just like when we want to go and learn something. Yeah, back in the day before the internet, we had to go to the library
Mhm.
and we had to go and choose a book and maybe skim through it. And if it resonated, maybe if it, even the title. So you've already expressed so many different titles just in what you've delivered today, but also a lot of, again, just such a vast assortment, a selection, because ley lines, that's something that, when are you going on your trip? When are you going to be back? Maybe that's a better question.
Um, yeah, so I leave May 3rd and I come back May 17th.
Oh, okay. So when you think of, this time, we've just had an Easter season, the collecting of, I'm almost seeing that. I love how you delivered that with collecting bits and pieces. It's like putting a piece of a puzzle together and really trying to
Yes.
find the pieces that then, appears. Oh my gosh, like, can you imagine a puzzle that was just blank, but you put the pieces together, and once that last piece was in place, it just like, you
Boom.
know, boom. That's kind of what I'm getting from that as well.
Yes.
The ley lines, I know that, boy, you hit something major, major. So I know that we've talked a little bit about what we're going to be doing, in small little groups this summer and some of the areas that are local,
Mhm.
because I didn't realize, the power of that, but I know I would go to a certain area in Edmonton, Alberta, and it would take my breath away. Like I
Yes.
literally felt like I was being choked. Like it was scary.
Yes. You have
And
to be
so,
careful doing this work. That is a
yes.
for sure thing.
So I remember, and I expressed it with, some of the people we know in common, where I was always been given rose quartz. And I thought, just like kids, how we take one stone and pound it down and, into like pixie dust.
Yeah.
And I was going to go and spread this rose quartz to spread love. So we're having another Spread the Love event. I'd love to invite you to be one of the facilitators for that, because it's a powerful thing right in our own area. So everyone watch our pages, maybe give a shout out to the pages that you have that people can go and like and follow and all of that fun stuff. If you could do that right now for us.
Yes. So I have my business page, which is Soul Tribe Tarot and Healing on Facebook. Um, Lots of stuff being posted in there, but I also have my Facebook group, which is a little bit more personal for us to all come together, be more open, share channelings, share struggles, share whatever you want to share, right? Anything that's relevant to ascension, spirituality, all those things. That one's called the New Earth Ascension Portal.
Mhm.
Portal, because I really have set that intention that when you come through into the group, you are coming through a portal into a higher frequency of New Earth, together
Mm.
co-creating a higher reality together.
Wow. And again, just even that word New Earth. I don't share this with a lot of people, but most people in my circles know I've had a couple near-death experiences, and now I'm hearing more New Earth, New Earth. What I got to see was Earth,
Mm.
but vibrant. Everything was dancing and singing, and that's really important to me as a person. The music, the universal language,
Yes.
the movement. Like I love how you said movement, meditation in movement. Wow, that just resonates with me.
Yeah.
So all of that, again, just that beauty, that ebb and flow, and
Hmm.
just everything that we really truly can set our intentions, and intentions are everything,
Yeah.
to create exactly what our heart's desire is, or something that brings back that soul imprinted memory,
Yes.
allowing us to feel more comfortable with where we are right now,
Yeah.
instead of resisting and struggling, but to have a group of people, a tribe of people, to be able to bounce things back and forth. That is the beauty of a private group, and really feeling that's a safe place, of course, with under the wisdom and knowledge of someone like yourself, is just amazing to be able to reach out, and I'm sure people can private message you as well.
Of course.
I know that you offer, consultations and whatnot as well. And I mean, to offer that as part of your course, that 30 to 60 minutes, oh my gosh, like what a value. Like I'm telling you,
I think
um,
it's really important.
I think that's where, you know, there is no value in free. We know that our society really understands that now. And, to be a value, a service, a value of service with all the things that you've already done a lot of work in. And just to deliver from that level of, I just feel that confident vibration from you, that that really makes a person go like, wow, I know I'm going to learn something. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what age we are, it doesn't matter what our experience level, or it just does not matter. You
No, it
know,
doesn't.
we get started, you're going to meet people where they're at. We're just going to get started with that particular item, and you're there to consult. So what does a person do if they say want to have a consultation with you? Is there something that we can do for the listening audience to maybe like have that opportunity? You know, maybe if they watch this live and kind of throw a
Yes.
hashtag or something, would you be willing to do a little mini consultation for maybe one or two lucky winners?
Yes, yeah. So if anybody is out there listening live or on replay, we've been playing around with the idea of hashtag AAA, which is Amber's Ascension Academy. So
Yes.
put that in the hashtag there on the comments, and I would be happy to have that consultation with whoever is the winner to discuss your needs or help you with whatever it is that you're needing help with. I am open and willing and able to do so.
And let me kind of add to that, because if you're watching live, to us that's a big deal. We circulate this, and we kind of chose lunch hour. We try to kind of have it within the lunch hour so people can maybe jump on, beautiful weather outside, go find a place to sit and listen. So if you've done a live, hashtag AAA live. If it's the replay, hashtag AAA replay. And that way we have a better idea by searching that, who out there, and you know what, share this, share. We're always going to ask people where they found out about us as far as the platform, Amber, myself, and everything that we really are passionate about doing. It's so important to do what you love and love what you do, isn't it?
It's actually life-changing. And I did not realize that until I stepped into doing what I love, and it's not work anymore. Every day
Ah,
I wake up and I get to change lives in some way, shape, or another, and it's fulfilling and it's not work. Even if it's a hard session or a hard whatever, really full of heaviness, there's still a lot of joy that comes from that from both parties.
and that's the thing. It's about, the new humanity, the new, there's this time that we say, it's a human condition, a lot of things that we see here and have to be a part of. And then I love the part where it's like, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And being human can be tough sometimes, but when we can reach out and have a safe place. Again, I just encourage everyone in the listening audience to do so if you feel the need. You can always message me if you're wanting to have a connect with Amber on a group chat. I definitely do that all the time for a lot of people, and to really just know that the manifestation part, that we can actually. I always say to people, take a look around. If everyone's at home or wherever you are, take a look around at what you've created.
Yeah.
And it is literally anything is possible. so
It
on
is.
that note, is there anything that you'd like to say to wrap things up, or to just kind of give a final kind of what
Well, I really love, it's still just like sticking in my head what you said earlier about it doesn't matter what age you are, okay? Because I hear so many people go, "Oh, I wish I would have started earlier. I'm so old now," or, "I'm too old to get started." And it's like, no, you're not.
Mm, mm,
And, and saying that as well is, you can never learn enough, right? Just because, now I'm stepping into a teacher role, I'm still the student, right? I'm still learning every single day about new ways and better ways to do things and truths, right? I really my value and my just like where I stand is I want the truth on everything. And I really practice that high level of discernment for whatever I watch, listen, read anywhere, to not take everything as truth and to take what's truth for me. So I just invite whoever is listening to also do that for yourself. That doesn't matter what I say or what I teach you in this program or what Carol has to say or what anybody else has to say. Find what's your truth. And that's really going to help you feel more full and one with yourself. It's almost like that highest level of self-love because you're trusting yourself. You're trusting what your soul already knows. Your soul came with a blueprint. It knows what its truth is. It knows what it's experienced. It knows what it likes and it doesn't like. and nobody can change that for you. So that's just a little bit there that I just wanted to add in, just to help empower everybody.
Absolutely. And that's a great way to finish this off. No more second guessing, everyone. We do that to ourselves all the time. And, the woulda, shoulda, shoulda, coulda, what, yeah. Set that aside. Just feel like just kind of like pushing the cloud out of the way so the sunshine can come on in, and, really allow yourself to be okay with saying, hey, this is my time to shine. So,
Yes.
Amber, thank you so much. It's absolutely always a pleasure. I'm sure we could go for hours and hours. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just am so excited about all the things that you're offering. So again, everyone, reach out if you have any questions, put in the comments, the hashtag AAA live or AAA replay, and we'll be coming at you again in about a week or so. We'll kind of throw it out there just for a quick update and select somebody who's going to get a great consultation, maybe just to help get that all set up. And if you want a private consultation, reach out to Amber and she will accommodate that so lovingly. So again,
Yes.
have a glorious day. And
Yes, you too.
yeah, it's going to be a great one. So
It
we'll
is.
see everyone next time on Showcasing You with Carol Roberts Connect and Amber Courtney. Bye for now.
Bye.